Another way to look at individuation is to consider what we're individuating from. When the definitions of individuation specify the environments of the processes in which they're trying to describe, it's difficult to look at all the different environments in which a process of individuation might occur. I personally approach this problem by considering individuation as a process of differentiation from the families of origin of the people I'm working with and the ways in which they adapted in their environments and their families of origin during their developmental period. A lot of times this won't cover some stuff, and we could see how easy augmentation for someone trying to individuate from an adaptive self built in a time of war after a normal development or a development with low developmental trauma, an ACE score of 1 or 2, usually 3 something. When we look at these types of events, there we would want to differentiate from the way the schema was shaped in just those events. And we'd need to do so in 7 domains, in my opinion. We look at safety and how the organism and adaptive cells and ways of adapting and being when safety is triggered or when safety is felt shape for the person and bring their locus of control to that domain and have them design how they'd like to react to matters of safety. And then to their creative desire, which I also like talk about through yes and no the most, and our boundaries, but also the things we like and don't like that shape our yeses and nos. I think we need to be intentional about these. These can eat our lunch, right? And so we want to make sure we kind of have an individuation from and locus of control around our boundaries and our likes, our interests, and our dislikes and our aversions. When we look at further up in the body, a lot of times in the gut, we'll get into a sense of guilt, right? Senses of shame, senses pertaining to self-perception. And our ideas about ourselves as good enough to play a role in our societies, good enough to contribute. Moving into love and considering all the energies that can come in the heart, like anxiety and depression and different factors. Our fight or flight response is directly linked to the heart. And so its interactions with all domains like safety in general is going to be considerable and take us time to map out and evaluate. We'll need to individuate our attachments and make sure our attachments aren't based on negative family cycles if we're going to break any of our attachment cycles. We'll need to differentiate certain perspectives from our family of origin almost as a process of maturity. And sometimes this type of maturity is stunted during developmental trauma or after. When we look at our thought life, we're gonna want to be intentional there, and I think this is widely communicated about, right? The benefit of being intentional about our thinking and our patterns of thinking, highly beneficial. And then we'll want to consider the domain of spirituality, differentiation and individuation in these matters being pivotal to the development of our society over time, as all ways of viewing spirituality change based on the settings and conditions in which those spiritual beliefs and practices are experienced in. When we look at differentiating from our environments of origin and our adaptations to them, we want to value the good that we choose again, the ways that we appreciate the most about ourselves, but we'll also need to appreciate and accept ways that don't live up to our standards now that we adapted to with them. And knowing that we were trying to keep ourselves and those we're attached to safe, most likely. But that everyone makes mistakes. When we look at the work of differentiation and individuation, shifting our locus of control, just that right there, just choosing again, choosing choice by choice. This heals our self-perception and our relationships, how we're perceived by others, in ways that are valuable and communicable.